Hi, everybody. Welcome to our interest meeting for the Branch Christian Classical Academy. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't know a lot of you on the call, so welcome, and I hope to meet you in the near future. And some of you I do know, so it's really fun to have you here on the call. We're just really going to talk a little bit about what the branch is and what classical education is, and then take kind of a look at what our curriculum will be for the next year. So at any time, please feel free to, type in the chat box if you have any questions, or at the end, we can talk as well and answer any questions that you might have. And of course, at any time you can email me if you want to do that another time. That'd be great. So to introduce myself to those of you I have not met, I'm Jamie Jesse, and we have been at the branch for a year. But we came from Classical Conversations, where I was for 11 years, homeschooling my 5 kiddos. And I really did a lot of study about classical education while I was during those years, and also worked for Classical Conversations corporate, academic team, where I did a lot of training for directors who taught the 8th grade program and wrote curriculum and things of that nature. So really, I'm just a homeschool mom. I love homeschooling, and I'm kind of a nerd. So every time I was given material, it really enjoyed reading it and really studying it and learning more about it. So the Lord just put this together pretty quickly. We've had it on my heart for a few years to do a classical homeschool co-op that was more than one day, because our family needed more than one day. So after joining the branch, we were just really blessed by Ray and the community there, and thought, well, let's just combine these two. And the Lord just confirmed it pretty quickly. So we are looking forward to opening in the fall. For those of you who have not been to the branch is a homeschool co-op, but it is a drop-off homeschool co-op. So it's 3 days a week in school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with, the kids go to their grades. They have a teacher who is usually a homeschool parent, mom or a dad, or maybe a retired teacher. And then they have 2 home study days with the parent at home on Thursday and Friday. We do offer Thursdays as like a study hall and elective day, but that's optional and extra to the 3 days in school. All right. So a little bit about classical education for those who've never heard about classical education quite a bit. It is a different style of learning compared to what you would see in a traditional public school or a traditional homeschool. The way in which the kids are taught is a little bit different, and their main focus, especially in Christian classical education, is for, by the time a student has gone through years of school, that they really have developed a love of learning, and that they really are able to better know God, to glorify Him, and to communicate who He is in everything that they do. And I'll show you a little bit about how the curriculum is set up that way, so that kids can really grow and learn in that regard. One of the famous sayings for classical education is that learning never ends. We always want to be learning more, no matter what stage we are in life. And so cultivating the tools of learning, the love of learning, is a highlight of the classical model. Some of the hallmarks of classical education are the focus on the tools of learning. So we're not just learning what World War II is, or what a seed is, and how it grows into a tree, but really learning the skills like how to write, how to spell, how to communicate, how to present something so that no matter what area of life you are in, you have a pretty good tool belt or a toolbox to learn anything that you should desire. These are the same tools that we would learn things now if we're, need to replace something in our car. We go to YouTube now, but to learn how to do some things, but really just giving the kids a really good toolbox and helping them know how to use those tools of learning. We really focus on the tools of communication. So not just learning something and then forgetting about it, but learning it, knowing it, and then being able to present that to others. They just do a lot of studying in the upper grades of theology and how do we communicate the gospel to other people? How do we communicate what we've learned to others? Another hallmark of classical education is integration. And what that means is that there are no separate subjects, that they all are connected to each other because they are all connected to our Creator. He created order in the world when it comes to numbers and math, and He created the universe. And so studying science and things of that nature all lead back to Him and the things that He created for us to enjoy. You will see a lot of science and math combined together. There's a lot of history and writing combined together. So we really try to give a whole education in that way. And then also mastery is a big one in classical education. Students are taught at a young age to memorize facts and to really retain that knowledge. And even as they move up higher into the upper grades, they're not doing let's cram and learn this material, take the test, and then just move on. They were constantly coming back to this information in many, many different ways so that they can master what they are learning. In the grammar stage of classical education is what we call the younger years, the kindergarten through fourth graders. And we don't mean English grammar, it means the structure. So they're really learning the structure of each subject. They're learning kind of the bare bones, if you will, of certain things in science or in math. Excuse me. And a lot of that is done through memorization. Students will do a lot of recitation. They will memorize the parts of a flower, what a stamen is and where it is, what's the steeple, what's the stem. Really a heavy focus on naming things. If you've ever walked with a young child outside, they're asking, what's that? What's that? What's that up there? They're really interested in what's around them. And so we want to really embrace that curiosity and really embrace that wonder and how God made them and let them start naming things and gathering information. And then once they get to that preteen stage, usually around age 10 or 11, they start to ask a lot of questions, why is this and why is that? When they're younger, we're teaching them the parts of a flower. But as they move into this upper stage, they're wanting to know, well, how do flowers, how are flowers exist? How do they exist? How come they're in this area and not in others? And we're going to start putting together some more analytical pieces of maybe the reproduction in plants and really start to put some meat on those bones that they have learned in the younger years. Work with that question stage and help them just dig deeper into some knowledge and put the pieces there when they are usually naturally inclined to ask a lot of questions in this stage. So we're working with their development. And then the upper grades is what we call the rhetoric stage. And in this stage, they've learned all the bare bones. They've really learned how they've connected. And now we need to really master this information and know how it all comes together and how now does that apply to me? What am I supposed to do with this information that I have? Am I just supposed to know it? What's the consequence of it for me? And so we start really investigating some of those ideas. Well, we've learned the parts of a plant when we were little. Now we've put all the pieces together. We know how they reproduce. We know different types of flowers and how we can, cross pollinate and all those things. But what am I supposed to do with that? And this is the part where we really begin to say, this is how you grow your garden. This is how you maybe turn it into a business and really allow them to apply their learning to something real and practical. And this is really such a brief overview of classical education. There is a lot more to read if you so desire. Classical Conversations does have really easy to read books about classical education. If you are interested in that, also the Well-Trained Mind is a really good place to start as well. Excuse me, I'm having, my allergies are terrible today of all days. So just a minute. All right, so what does that mean for the classroom? The classroom is set up, fairly similar to what it would be like in school. However, each subject, the younger kids will be doing recitations and memorizations. So if they're in, history class, they're all memorizing a timeline from creation until now. And they're really getting some really good pegs like in their brain. That way, when they get to read textbooks as they get older, they're like the Minoan culture. I think I remember about the Minoan culture. Was it the Minoan culture, in this time period? And they've heard it, they know the vocabulary, and now it's time to really investigate more about it. So we really try to give them a really solid structure and memorization when they're young, but also in a fun and engaging way, not just sitting there and stating facts. Really try to get them to do it in a kinesthetic way. They get to, march and drum and use different tools to help memorize facts. The curriculum we've chosen for history throughout the entire K through 12 is the Veritas program. Classical education is oftentimes pretty heavy in history as its core. Not that they just only learn history, but a lot of the writing and a lot of the science kind of encompasses that history, and it's really a good starting point for expanding the other subjects. For our littlest learners, the K through first grade, they don't really need a heavy history curriculum at this point. So they're going to be learning what a timeline is and what is time and where are they in this timeline, understanding that there is time before them and there will be time after them. And they use this cute little character in the Veritas program, this little ball of yarn, and he kind of takes them throughout the periods of history, helps them to understand, their birthdays, their parents' birthdays, their grandparents' birthdays. It's a really cute program, really enjoyable for them to just start to learn what a timeline is. They also will do art and geography included in that. It's real simple and real sing-song way. They get to trace and draw maps with their dry erase markers and a little map, and just start to memorize places in history and of the world. When we get to the second and fifth grade, through fifth grade, we get a little bit more meat when it comes to history. So it is broken up into five different um, sections of history that each grade will be studying. The grades second through, actually sixth grade, I have a typo on my slide there. Second through sixth grade, they will all learn 160 events through the in a timeline song format. So they all will have the same memory work, but second grade will be learning ancient history. So they will come to class, they will memorize the timeline together, and then they will sit down and let's say they're learning, we talked about the Minoan civilization a minute ago. Let's say they're learning about the Minoan culture. They're going to read beautiful picture books about that time period. They're going to do some projects. As they get older, they will start to do some question type answering, some writing work, and really just present history in a story form. Also, the second through sixth graders will investigate all 66 books of the Bible in a story manner that is really fun and engaging for their age group. The third grade moves on to New Testament history and the Greeks and the Romans. The fourth grade does Renaissance, and the fifth and sixth grade do different periods of American history. When they get into the third grade, we also add IEW writing to their history curriculum. So if they are learning about the Renaissance, they're going to be doing IEW writing that also includes Renaissance history. If you've never done IEW, which is the Institute for Excellence in Writing, it is really fun, really engaging, and they pick really cute stories that really teach kids how to write many different formats. It's an excellent program and coincides with their history very well. They will also be doing geography as a part of their history program. So they will, if they're learning ancient history, they're going to be memorizing the geography in those locations. And once we get into the 7th and 12th grade, we will begin the Omnibus program, which is their primary and secondary programs. So their primary program is history. The 7th grade program is Omnibus 1, and they start off in ancient history. So we've already learned ancient history in 2nd grade, and now we're coming back to it in 7th grade. So they will read their history, and they will learn about it, but then they will also do the literature that relates to the history that they're learning. Omnibus 1 uses a lot of C.S. Lewis, and they incorporate that into their history program. It includes biblical analysis. They really in-depth study all 66 books of the Bible throughout the Omnibus program. They do a cultural analysis, and then they debate. The Bible is saying this, and maybe our culture is saying this, and do they match? Is there something wrong with that? Are we doing something different than what the Bible laid out for us? And so they really start to think and analyze, why is this history important to me? And does it change any actions that I'm doing today, or might change any actions I would like to take in the future? This Omnibus program also includes logic. It is not formal logic in dealing with propositions and letters and lines. It really deals with logical thinking and debate and understanding different types of arguments, and allowing the students to understand and know how to construct a great argument and how to prove their thesis. Not just to say what they believe, but to investigate, to understand, to know, and then be able to present it in a very beautiful, formal manner that is not just some that's just not a back and forth, arguing, but a well laid out presentation. The Omnibus program also includes their summary and persuasive essay writing. There's quite a bit of writing in this program, and the students really learn to communicate truth very, very well. Our English program is closely connected to the history program, but they do have some things that are separate. I am a certified reading and spelling tutor for dyslexic children, so it's really important to me that at the earliest ages, our kids are given an opportunity to decipher the English language in a very easy and engaging way, and also in a way that reaches students who might struggle with reading. I've chosen to use the All About Reading and All About Spelling programs because they are Orton Gillingham programs, which means they are designed for dyslexic students. This program does really well with natural readers, natural spellers, and mildly dyslexic readers and spellers. It also helps me to identify children who might be really struggling and have severe dyslexia. And we are going to offer, at a separate class, we're going to offer Barton reading and spelling during school hours with a certified advanced tutor so they can get the help that they need and have really good success throughout school and for the rest of their future. The grammar, we will use a Well-Trained Mind. I absolutely love Well-Trained Mind grammar. I work with mostly high school students now, and I can tell you who has used first language lessons and Well-Trained Mind because they know all the parts of speech, they know how to use it, they know the parts of a sentence, and they're able to incorporate that into their writing. The writing will be closely used with the history program, but we will be doing the Institute for Excellence in Writing from 3rd grade and up. The Omnibus, for the older ones, will be doing their writing assignments, and then we will incorporate handwriting through K through 6th grade. For our science program, it's really important to me for the younger years that they really enjoy science, that they really get to experience hands-on science in a beautiful way. So we chose The Good and the Beautiful for grades K through 6 because it is just beautiful and they have beautiful pictures, beautiful storybooks, and they really engage the kids in a hands-on way, allowing them to get outside, experience nature, and learn more about the world around them. They also do include recitation memory work that goes along with what they are learning, and that's just the classical model. So it really fits us well, and it's really engaging for the kids. For the upper ages, 7th through 12th grade, we're going to be using Novare Science. It is a classical science program, and it does have a little bit of a different schedule than what you would normally see in school. It is very well laid out to integrate mathematics and science together so that students have a more whole understanding of science. In the 7th grade, we'll use physical science, and they will do a science fair. In 8th grade, we have earth science. Then in 9th grade, they actually will do introductory physics, but not introductory physics like you and I might think of physics. Physicists like, oh my goodness, I can never teach that class, but it's pretty basic and really goes well with Algebra 1, which is why it is placed there. And then we will use their general biology, general chemistry, and anatomy and physiology. For math, we'll use The Good and the Beautiful math for the younger kids because it's very hands-on, it's very easy to use, and it really works well for those younger years. As we get into the 4th and 5th grade, we'll begin using the teaching textbooks. It is a very repetitive program that enables the kids to really solidify facts, as well as being very easy for families to use at home, because they do have an online program where you can go, okay, we're on lesson 15. The students can watch lesson 15 and work on their math at home. Students will also have recitation in math when it comes to addition facts, multiplication facts, and the like. So again, I mentioned this earlier, but the schedule is going to be the same as it is at the Forest Hill and also at the Kannapolis. We'll have school on Monday through Wednesday. We are going to do it from 8:30 until 2:30 p.m. So it's a little bit later because we need some more time in there for the upper grades. And then there's also a Thursday drop-off program that is available at the Forest Hill branch in Concord for students who would like to take additional electives. They have fun ones like science and dance and theater, and they always have something different going on that the kids really enjoy. And for those who would like to do it, we are going to offer Latin as well. So we weren't able to offer that as a core subject Monday through Wednesday for time's sake, but we are going to add that as an elective on Thursdays. I'm going to go ahead, when I conclude our meeting, I will be emailing all of you the tuition fees and list of the curriculum that we're going to use, so you can have that information if you would like to look at it further, and also some links that you can see the curriculum up close. But tuition is the same as it is at Forest Hill, and except for the book fees are a little bit more expensive, simply because classical curriculum is really, really high. So we have really done, I think, a good job in getting it to be pretty low cost when it comes to classical curriculum, so that we can be available for anybody who wants to join. And also, if you're ever interested in teaching, I do need teachers, and you do get benefits for tuition and books and things of that nature. So I talked a lot. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we've discussed or that I missed and you wanted to inquire about?
What is the address, the location?
It is Second Presbyterian Church. It's on the corner of Dale Earnhardt Boulevard and Highway 29.
Just a quick question about how you said that they'll be studying the Bible and that the theology is is it underlying in the history, or are we focusing more on the theology and then the history just kind of goes with it?
It is history.
Okay.
And then they will be learning theology while they're studying. So they're going to go in chronological order. So they'll be studying from the beginning of time all the way up to modern days. And so they're going to be going through all the Old Testament and the New Testament during that time. So a lot of the theology will be coming in at that time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
On the Thursday class day, will you be at Forest Hill?
We have kind of thrown this back and forth a little bit. Right now, we're planning on being at the Forest Hill campus for Thursdays, but we are entertaining the idea of having an elective day at the branch that we will be at in Kannapolis, but we haven't made a final decision on that.
Okay, but whichever one you're at, you personally will be there, and some of the teachers, or no?
It depends on who will be offering electives. So
Okay.
I may or may not be there depending on who I have teaching Latin. I may need to be teaching that.
Sure.
I know you said that class day ends at 2:30.
Mhm.
Would you guys ever offer something in the afternoons that could stretch out the day just a little bit? I'm just asking for us working parents.
Yeah, right now I start work at 3:30, so I'm not able to provide that. If I do have teachers and parents who are wanting to provide that, um, then we can offer, that is something we can offer. But it may be a little bit before I know that, because I'd have to get the volunteers and see what teachers would like to be available for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love the idea. This is just me throwing it out there of like a sports program or like something fun for them in the afternoons, if
Mhm.
and like maybe where we just paid like a small extra fee or something, if that was an option. I know at another school we were a part of, they did like a running program or just different things or like a homework help session. And you could pay just a little more for like an extra hour.
Yeah, those are great ideas for
Thank
sure.
you.
Will there be homework Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
There will not be homework on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
We will only be assigning homework for Thursday and Friday. Um,
Okay.
and for those of you who have not uh, been at the branch before, the teachers put homework in a website for you, and you get it on a calendar, and you can just open it and complete the homework that the teacher has assigned for Thursday, Friday. In the upper grades, they will have literature to read, but it will, they'll have a couple weeks to complete that. It won't be assigned homework Monday through Wednesday.
Can you talk a little bit more about the tutor that you mentioned for the kids struggling with reading or spelling or dyslexic kids?
hmm So I work for a program it's called Barton Reading and Spelling. And I work for a company that has multiple tutors, and we do remote tutoring. So if we have students who still are struggling, even in the Orton Gillingham program that we're providing, we will offer a tutor to tutor them during the school day. It will be online, and it will be, an additional cost. It'll be quite a bit of an additional cost because that will be going straight to their company. But we can offer a place for them to get that tutoring during the day instead of after school and in the middle of dinner and things like that.
So you're saying online, like it would be on a Zoom call?
Yes. Yep. So I tutor remotely, and it's great.
Okay, thanks.
hmm
Can you walk us through what a typical study for Thursdays and Fridays, what that day would look like? As
Okay.
far
hmm So it will look quite different depending on the age group of your own children. So if you have young children, you will need to be, typically having to help them fully with language and math. We won't have any science or history homework on Thursdays and Fridays. So you will just be working with them on whatever language lesson they are on for that day and whatever math lesson they have assigned for that day. For the math, and like when they get to 4th and 5th grade, they can choose to do that online if you want to purchase the teaching textbooks online program. You can have them go to the computer and do their math that way, but you will need to be hands-on with their language. And when they get to the 7th, through 9th grade, you're starting to be more of a not so much their full-time teacher on Thursday, Friday, but really just making sure they get their work done. You're there to answer questions. Then as they get to that 10th grade, 11th grade level, they should be fully independent at that time.
Thank you.
hmm
Will there be like a testing type of format throughout the year and then any kind of like end of year test?
I will be offering placement tests for the reading and spelling program. Once you've registered, I will send you a placement test because it is based on level, it's not based on grade. So they will go to the level that they need to be in and grow from there. Ray, I don't know if you can answer the end of year testing. I don't know if we provide that necessarily or do it as a group. I haven't been at the branch the end of the year yet.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So as far as end of the year testing, we just do the basic CAT test, which is acceptable to the state. They don't necessarily look at which test you take, but if you're wanting to do like a more comprehensive test, a lot of the families do the Woodcock-Johnson test. And there's a lady within our group, I mean, she doesn't go to our group, but a lot of the people at our group use her for the end of the year testing. And I think if not some of it, if not all of it, is oral, which is good for a lot of different students.
So do we offer that at school, the CAT testing, or is
We
it
do,
something that you
yeah.
have? Okay.
The CAT testing will be at school. There will be testing days. Not everybody will participate, so it wouldn't be like a regular school day. And
Okay.
but then you don't have to do it that way.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Jamie, somebody was asking if the teachers will have previous experience teaching the classical style.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the chat box completely.
Oh.
So for the younger years, I can train any teacher. So that is what I did before coming to the branch. Is I trained parents to teach the classical model. So it's much easier to train those younger grades in the classical model because it's not as in depth. When we get to the upper grades, like high school, I do have to have someone who is classically trained to do the Omnibus program because it lies so heavily on discussion, and just the more practice and training you've had, the easier that is. I am also looking for something very similar in the upper science, especially when we get to chemistry, someone who has had experience. But definitely through the K through 8th grade, it's pretty easy to train in the classical model.
How many kids are you allowing into the school?
We are going to keep it at about 6 to 8 kids per grade. So mostly because of space. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, thank you all for coming and learning more about the classical model with me tonight. So if you have any questions anytime, please feel free to email me at the Branch Classical or reach out to me on Facebook. I'm happy to speak with you at any time. Thanks all for coming. But yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Thank you.
One more thing before you guys go. As far as like the current Kannapolis campus and the current Forest Hill campus, if you're currently going to Kannapolis, you don't have to commit to go to this school with this model. You can sign up at Forest Hill, and if you're signed up at Forest Hill, you don't have to commit to being there. You can change campuses. We're all going to be the same school, just trying to meet everybody's needs best for their family. So just didn't want anybody to feel like, you know, they couldn't sign up because they're already at a certain campus. So we're trying to make room for everybody at whichever campus you want to go to.
Can you guys
Awesome.
remind us of the registration dates for like former students versus new families?
Current families is January 1st, and new families is March 1st.
I wanted to ask one more question. Do you think there will be any enrollment issues? This is Julie, and I know, Jamie, I've asked you this too by
That's
email.
great.
But do you think there will be any enrollment issues? I know it's a change and some people don't like change. I know for me, I'm beyond excited about what's to come. But I just want to make sure that like if we enrolled for Kannapolis, if there's any chance that there wouldn't be enough students, would there be an issue? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not seeing that there will be an issue at this time, but I think we'll be able to have room at either campus, depending on where you all are at. If we end up having a really small grade, we can combine some grades. But we've had a lot of interest in this and the classical model. So, and then from every single grade, I've had a lot of questions. So I'm not anticipating that, but we can definitely kind of look at that as we go along and make sure everybody is in the right place for what they need.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Will
Sorry.
the-
No, go ahead.
Will the Forest Hill campus be doing a Zoom call similar to this? I don't know. I'm kind of learning about the different styles and trying to figure out which one I'm interested in the most.
I haven't thought that far.
Okay.
We've been doing this just because it's a totally different model, but yes, I can do that. And we're gonna have an open house too. I guess it kind of depends on, the whole COVID situation. But yeah, I could do a Zoom call for Forest Hill. I'll schedule that. I'll schedule that when we get off here and I'll put it out there. I'll probably post it on I don't know, where are you posting information, Jamie, for people to see the Zoom calls?
I've just done it on the classical Facebook page.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll probably post it on Facebook on the it just says Branch Christian Academy Forest Hill. I'll probably post it on there. And I may also post it on our website, which is just branchchristianacademy.com. I might post a link there if we have a Zoom meeting.
And I can
Okay.
email you too, Marlena.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, Jamie. Just wanted to see
Yeah.
if you could speak to for kids who are entering into this a little bit older. Like I have a rising fourth grader, which would have missed a lot of that memory work.
Mhm.
How do they fare? Is that really difficult? How do you guys handle that?
It's not that difficult actually, because well, the memory work already this year is going to be different from what even though kids who've come from classical, they've not had this particular memory work. And the brain is just a muscle. So anytime you start memorizing things, it's a little bit harder at the beginning, but the more you do it, the easier it is. And each child is going to be at a completely different place when it comes to memorization. Some kids just are natural at it and they get it real fast, and other kids might take them longer. But memorization in no way is graded or expected to have full memorization. It's just something that we look to do on a daily basis to help with their long-term retention. It is the same way with the presentation skills. They're starting out very basic, and each child will have a different goal in what they're going to present each day. So, their goal might be just to look up one time, if they have never really done presentations before, if they've been in classical learning for a long time and they're very familiar with presenting something and memorizing something, what is expected of them will be a little bit more. And we help the older kids know how to self-assess, so they learn how what they need to grow in and what is one skill they want to grow in at a time. We're trying not to throw 100 skills at them at once to grow in, because that's overwhelming. We have them choose one or two things they want to grow and work on that as the year goes on. So in short, it's really not a problem for kids just to jump in at any point from K through 12th grade.
I had a question about the literacy program.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm excited about Orton Gillingham. The research behind it's great. In terms of children being able to select books, have their choice of books and reading for pleasure, if you will, is that integrated within the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or is that something that parents are expected to kind of do on the the 3 days that they're not in school?
Yeah, so we will have books available for them to read. There are readers that go along with their reading and spelling program that match the skill that they're learning in class, and that's pretty structured in that way. But there also are beautiful lists of reading material that they can get at the library, and I feel like it's pretty grade level. Like if you're in level 1 or level 2, you can go to the library and get a level 1 or 2 book, and it's pretty similar. There'll only be a couple of differences there.
Thank you. And then my follow-up question, I had to jump off for nighttime devotionals with my kids, but
Awesome.
there was a question in the chat about the training that the teachers have had on classical education. Is it possible to speak to that again? I'm sorry.
Yes, not a problem. So for the younger years, so my job before coming here was actually to train classical educators, and it's something I really enjoy. And so for the younger years, it is a lot easier to train teachers in the classical model, because the classical models really focus on memorization at that point. So I will really be training teachers in that model, and also because I love the Orton Gillingham program, I'll be helping the teachers in particular with the literacy program that we have. When they get to, that 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, the Omnibus program, which is a very heavy classical program, it does require somebody who has been classically trained and has had some experience teaching the classical model, because it is discussion based, and sometimes you never know what a child's going to answer. So you have to be able to think through what they're answering, and what questions you can follow up on. It's called the Socratic method. So they're learning by answering and asking questions. That usually takes someone who is pretty comfortable with that. But I do have many junior high and high school teachers who are homeschool parents, and I've been in the classical model for many years, who are wanting to teach. So I'm thrilled about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Leanna asked, is the biblical theology you were talking about based on a specific denomination? No, it's not denomination theology. It's really just basic biblical theology that we would believe across denominations. The Trinity, Jesus sacrificed himself for our sins, and he rose from the dead so we can have eternal life. We're really looking at just understanding, each book of the Bible, who the character was, what is what is God saying through this book of the Bible, what is the theme, what are we to learn from it, and then how do we apply that to our own lives. Awesome.
I'll ask another question if it's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have 2 African American children, and I'm wondering about the diversity of the school, and then my second question is, in terms of a global perspective, as they learn through history, obviously there'll be a lot on Rome, ancient Greece, and things of that sort. As they do social studies, how is that incorporated?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. So I'm trying to think of how to answer your question. So they will be learning quite a bit about other cultures through the history program. I've also been looking, so I'm a missionary kid as well. So diversity and learning about other cultures is really what I just love it. I really love it. And, you know, your children won't be the only, I don't believe would be the only African-American children there. So if, you know, that is something you are concerned about, but that will definitely be incorporated in the program for sure. Is that
Thank
what you're asking specifically? Did I answer your
Yeah,
question? Okay.
just making sure they get more than just a Eurocentric one
Yeah.
perspective view.
Yeah, I understand completely. Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Any more questions?
Thank you. This has been helpful.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. I'm really looking forward to this, and do please let me know if you have any questions in the future or want to talk about anything. Just let me know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank